The Optimist tells the true story of Herbert Heller, who kept his miraculous escape from the Auschwitz-Birkenau death march a secret for 60 years, even from his family. That's until he meets Abbey, a young teenager whose own brush with pain and death inspires him to open up as well, leading the two of them to exchange their stories as a meaningful and healing friendship is born. The Optimist has a limited release all across the country starting on March 11th and is only in theaters for a week, so go check it out. And if you'd like to support any of the organizations mentioned in this interview, the links will be in the description down below. So here is producer Jeanine Thomas on The Optimist. Well, congratulations on the film, The Optimist. This is your first film, correct?
This is my first film.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. Tell me a little bit about the film and how you kind of got involved in it.
Um, well, in 2014, I met Herbert in person, and I just loved spending time with him and asking him a lot of questions. And I think he really appreciated being able to talk about everything he went through with non-family members, so
Mhm.
because he just wanted his family to look at him like himself. He also asked me at the time, he's like, "Can you get me more talks at schools? I love, passing on my story to the younger generation." And so I did. And I would be there for those talks. And he was 88 and he would just always stand. He would never sit. He would stand in front of, a group of young kids from primarily eighth grade up to seniors. And he always made such an impact on them. And it was at that time that I'm like, this really needs to be a movie. We need this in the world right now, not just to pay homage to what Herbert went through in his story, but how he's impacting today. And I really feel we've got to heal the past and the present to have a beautiful future. So I'd never made a film, but I said, this needs to be a film, not a book, because
Yeah.
people aren't reading today. So I'll make a film that people can watch and walk into the theater and walk out a different person thinking more about a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, that was my next question, if you ever got to meet him and like what was he like? What was it like having those conversations with him?
He was amazing. He was the easiest person to be around. I spent a lot of time around him up until 2020, which during COVID I moved back to Maine primarily. And then I got sick, as Corby talked about. And
Mhm.
I saw Herbert right before he passed in 2021. But spending time around him was not just an honor, but he's just such a fun, good person,
Mhm.
really funny, um, had a lot to say, you know, and would answer. We talked both about our, stuff going on with us. And at the end, when I came back to visit him, I didn't bring up anything about my health stuff, but it was just wonderful. And for somebody who had been through everything they'd been through, to have his outlook in life, he really is the optimist, and it's
Yeah.
inspired me to be an optimist with everything I've been going through. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Well, and you have a background in psychology, is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Did that, like, experience and background have a heavy impact on how you approached the film?
Yes. Um, yeah, I feel like a lot of things from my past really came together for me to do this film. And I feel like this film is like the beginning of doing more purposeful work in this world. Um, and yeah, the psychology, especially like seeing the kids and how it affected them. And then also, I'm sure you know the second leading cause of death for 10 to 34-year-olds is suicide. And I really thought, you know, even before I knew that statistic, like, wow, maybe hearing a story from Herbert who went through so much will give them a different perspective in their life. And I realized there are a lot of teens that don't feel like they have it good right now, even though
Mhm.
they're not going through what we went through in the past. And I've really delved into that more. And through creating the script and then the film, the teen storyline became more important because we do really have to focus on our, you know, our future, our change makers of the future, our youth, and
Mhm.
it's a big piece of the story too.
Yeah, definitely. Where did Abby's storyline come from? Was there a heavy personal connection to her character?
Not heavy personal with me, but I have 4 children, and I was really trying to figure out, like, how do I give them perspective, how good they have it, and seeing their struggles and what they were going through, and then, like I said, going into the schools with him and understanding more that kids are really having a hard time today.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so it was important to me, and then every school Herbert went into, the kids wrote letters. And one of the first schools he went into, the group of letters he got back, one of them, a girl wrote to him and said, you know, I was planning on writing a suicide note to my parents this week. And instead, I saw you speak at my school. And if you can make it through what you went through, I can too. And she's still
Mhm.
alive today. So I just
Yeah.
realized the importance of this theme, um,
Mm.
and then understanding the statistic. I started this back in 2014. Even today, that statistic is probably even higher, which
Mhm.
um, really makes me sad. For better, it affects my heart. It's something that doesn't need to be. Like, I'm like, how do we not give the everyone a reason to be here on earth, a reason
Mhm.
to follow through with our purpose, and love being here. So um that is a lot of work I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. And Herbert's impact too on that
Right.
girl specifically is just absolutely incredible. So just
Yeah.
kudos to you for focusing on that as well, because I mean it is a huge issue and I don't think it's talked about as much as it should be. Um But
Yeah.
so the choice to have the story told in the modern day and centering around the relationship between Herbert and Abby was very interesting. I think it really definitely added to the film and added kind of a modern lens.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of answered this question a little bit, but if you could dive a little deeper, like what led to the choice to approach the story that way? And did you ever have a mentor-mentee relationship like between Herbert and Abby in the film?
It's not that I know of, the mentor mentee.
Mhm.
For me, doing a film focused on today, like, or not focused, but in the here and now, um I really believe, and we continue to see this in our world, of if we don't heal the past and look at it and talk about it, it keeps coming forward.
Mhm.
And so I felt it was really important to have it be a modern telling of, you know, the past and the present. And yeah, I think it came out really well and is, very important. And again, even when I started making the film, it was important. Today, I feel like it's even more important, you
Yeah.
know, and it's important to understand our past, whatever past touches us in our lives. And it's really important for people to know that the Holocaust happened.
Mhm.
And in creating a teen storyline, there's more teens that will wanna go see this, or youth or young adults. And, 40% of people don't even believe the Holocaust happened. And we just have to honor our past and understand and believe it. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, that statistic. Like, it's just not taught anymore, which I just don't understand. Um
Yeah. And then one of the other things that we've learned, and I learned this just in the last 6 months, is of the Holocaust survivors left in the US, there's just over 30,000. Over 11,000 of them are living in poverty.
mm,
So, um, yeah, and I don't believe that's a statistic many people know. And
mm-mm, and
so we're doing a lot around this film to create an awareness campaign. We're doing an awareness campaign around this film for Holocaust survivor poverty. And we're
mhm,
working with a nonprofit that is giving 100% of the funds to the Holocaust survivors. I want them to thrive in their last years, and
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just a statistic that is needed. People need to know about, just like the suicide is second leading cause of death for 10 to 34. We have to look at it and go, what can we do better?
Mhm. So how can viewers, how can the audience support, the mission around this movie?
We have links to both Kavod, who is our, the people we're the nonprofit we're honoring on the Holocaust survivor poverty um, side, and all of that. Like, they could click to that link and they go right to Kavod, and if they give money, it goes 100% to the Holocaust survivors. And there's also someone who's at the same time doubling the amount, or matching it. So
Mhm.
their giving is supersized, I should say.
Yeah.
And then on the teen side, we're really focusing on how do we, like, create more agency, create more connection. And there's a wonderful nonprofit called Bring Change to Mind that we are honoring. And you can go directly to their website and see what they're doing, which is wonderful work in a lot of schools around the country.
Yeah. Well, okay, one last question before we kinda wrap up, but what do you hope audiences take away from The Optimist?
The Optimist. Um, my hope, and what I've seen, my hope is people walk into the theater and there's so many messages in this film. And I feel
Mhm.
like they speak to different people in different ways. So if someone goes into the theater, and the parent goes and grabs their parent, grabs their child. This is an intergenerational, beautiful film, interfaith, beautiful film. And that they watch it and they walk out a different person and they find that peace within the film that speaks to them, and they help cultivate that and change and grow for the better.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Can you remind me, when is The Optimist released? Can we see it in theaters?
The op It will be released March 11th, and it's a it's across the country, but it's a limited release the first week. So see it on the big screen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and
And you can get tickets on
congratulations
Fandango. Yeah.
on Fandango.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.